Algebra 1. Today's notes are notes number 2 from Unit 1 on solving multi-step equations. So the steps to solve a multi-step equation are basically to first simplify. So we're going to distribute and we're going to combine like terms. And then after we've done that, we'll be left with a two-step equation like the ones we know how to solve. So we're going to go through 4 examples together, 3 normal examples, and then 1 application problem. So for this first one, my first step when I'm simplifying is to distribute. I don't have any parentheses in this equation, so I don't have anything to distribute. So my next step would be to combine like terms. I have a positive 5x and a positive 2x, and a negative 6. The negative 6 doesn't have any like terms, but 5x and 2x are like terms. So if I add those together, I get 7x. I'll bring down my negative 6, bring down my equal sign, and bring down the 22 on the other side. Now that my equation has been simplified, this is just a two-step equation. So I will add 6 to both sides, and then 7x equals 28, divide by 7 on both sides, and x equals 4. To check my answer, I'm going back to my original equation, and I'm going to substitute the answer that I got for x everywhere there's an x in this problem. So I'll have 5 times 4 minus 6 plus 2 times 4 equals 22. And I'll know if my answer is right if the two sides of my equation are equal to each other. So on the left side, I have to follow my order of operations, which says to multiply first. 5 times 4 is 20. I'll bring down my negative 6. 2 times 4 is 8. So now I have 20 minus 6 plus 8. Well, 20 minus 6 is 14. 14 plus 8 is 22. So that tells me my equation is balanced when x equals 4, so my answer was correct. All right, for number 2. This time, I have some parentheses. I have to distribute a negative 8 to both terms inside of my parentheses before I can start solving. Negative 8 times 2x is negative 16x. Negative 8 times 1 is negative 8. I'll bring down my equal sign and my negative 56. Now I have a two-step equation, so I'm going to draw my line through my equal sign. My first step is to add 8 on both sides, which leaves me with negative 16x equals negative 48. My next step is to divide by negative 16, which gives us x equals positive 3. Something to watch out for on this one. This is a really common mistake people will make. When the coefficient of x, when the number in front of x is negative, make sure you divide by a negative number on both sides of your equation. A really common mistake people will make is instead of dividing by negative 16 here, they would just divide by 16. And they would get negative 3 as their final answer instead of positive 3. So to check our work for this one, same thing as before. I go back to my original equation, and anywhere my original equation had an x, I'm going to substitute the answer that I got. So this would be negative 8 times the quantity 2 times 3 plus 1 equals negative 56. If my answer is correct, then both sides of my equation will balance or be equal to each other. So on the left side, I need to use my order of operations. It says I should do the stuff in parentheses first. So in parentheses, I got a lot of stuff going on here. We have a multiplication and an addition problem. I have to multiply first, so this would be 2 times 3 is 6. I still have parentheses happening here. So now in my parentheses, I would have 6 plus 1, which is 7. And now last, I just have this multiplication of negative 8 times 7, which is negative 56. So our equation is equal on both sides. That means our answer was correct. All right, third example. The first step to solve a multi-step equation is to distribute. I have parentheses, so I need to distribute. The second step is to combine like terms. Before I can add or subtract anything, I need to do my distribution first. In this case, I'm distributing a negative 4 to both terms in parentheses. A really common mistake people will make is that they'll see this 8 minus 4 at the beginning and they just jump straight into doing this. And they'll say 8 minus 4 is 4, and then they'll do their distribution next. But we need to distribute first. Multiplying comes before adding in the order of operations. So this 8, nothing is happening with it. It's not being distributed. I can't combine it yet, so I just bring it down. We're distributing a negative 4. Negative 4 times 7x is negative 28x. Negative 4 times negative 3 is positive 12. Bring down the equal sign, bring down the negative 8. We're still not quite at a two-step equation yet. There are some like terms in here. We have a positive 8 and a positive 12 as constants. So we can combine those. I'm going to bring my negative 28 down first. Sorry, negative 28x down first because I like having my variable term in front. 8 plus 12, combining my like terms, is 20, and I'll bring down my negative 8 on the other side. Now I'm down to my two-step equation. So I'm going to draw my line through my equal sign. My first step is to subtract 20 on both sides. That leaves me with negative 28x equals negative 28. My second step is to divide on both sides. Don't forget about your negative sign here. We're dividing by negative 28 on both sides. And that leaves us with x equals positive 1. To check the answer for this one, it would be exactly the same as the other two. Take the solution that you got for x, substitute it back into your original problem where x is, and make sure your equation is balanced. Our last example here is an application problem. So we are going to take what we know from algebra and apply it to a different kind of problem. This problem asks us to solve for x if the perimeter of the triangle is 46 centimeters. So in order to do this problem, I need to know what the word perimeter means. So if you think back to geometry and the geometry stuff that you've learned in middle school and elementary school, the perimeter is the outside distance around a shape. And to find a perimeter, we add all the sides together. So if we are solving for x, if the perimeter of the triangle is 46 centimeters. So what that means is all of these sides, when are added together, they equal 46. So when we write our equation, we are adding all of the sides together. So x plus our side that's 3x minus 6 plus the side that's negative 5x plus 4. When all of those get added together, it's 46. So this equation looks really long and complicated, but once we simplify it, it will just be a normal two-step equation. We don't have any parentheses, so I don't have anything to distribute. So next I'm going to look for like terms. For my like terms, I have some x terms here, and I also have some constants. If I combine the x's, This plane X, I know, has an invisible 1 in front of it. So this is like having 1x plus 3x plus negative 5x, and that's negative 1x. When I combine the constants, negative 6 plus 4 is negative 2. I'll bring down my equal sign and bring down my 46. Now, after simplifying, we have a normal two-step equation. So I'll draw my line through my equal sign. My first step is to add 2 to both sides, which leaves me with negative 1x equals 48. My second step will be to divide by negative 1. Don't forget the negative here, which leaves us with x equals negative 48. To check this, it would be the same as all the other problems. I would substitute 48 back in where all of the x's are and make sure the equation balances on both sides.